Hello and welcome to Motor Trip TV and another video. Today's video then, you may be wondering why I'm starting here in this car park. Here in this empty car park, well, apart from my bike. So what is today's video then? Well, today's video is basically a bit of a mystery tour, and what I mean by that is we all have the ability with GPS systems, whether it's a Garmin or a TomTom, or if your mobile phone, there's Calimoto, there's loads of different apps on your phone that motorbike riders and car drivers, they're used to make random routes. And what I mean by that is, you've probably seen the feature, and like me, you've probably never used it. And it's a feature where you can press one button and it generates a scenic trip for you that's meant to be pretty good for motorbikes, because my Garmin, for instance, is set up with a profile for motorcycling, obviously. And supposedly I can press a button and it'll make a round trip, so you start and end at the same place, probably at home if you're doing it at home. And the trip out, you can tell it you want a long trip, a short trip, whatever, but it makes a really good scenic route. Now, I've got this feature on a few things, pieces of software, on, like I say, on my Garmin, and I've never used it. So today, I thought we'll try it. And that is the reason why I'm here in this car park, because obviously I don't want to give everybody where I live, so I can't do it from my house, because there's some crazies out there. It might be you. Anyway, so we're going to start from this car park here in Milnrow, junction 21 of the M62. So we're going to start here in this car park, do about 70 something miles I think it is, and then we'll end up back at this car park. And somewhere in between we should be having a bit of fun and seeing some good scenic stuff. Anyway, I'll explain more of that here in this VT. So the software I'm using is web-based, so My Route app, get typed in. Click on this, get logged in, and we're greeted with this. Straight away on the first screen you can see that it's Create Scenic Round Tour, or a mystery tour as we like to call them. It gives you the choice of bike, motorcycle. Obviously we'll click motorbike because that's what we're on, and then we need to choose our starting point, which, as we already know, is the car park in Milnrow. Next, you can use this slider to choose how big of a distance you'd like to do today. I'm going to choose 70 miles, that's long enough to bring in some good roads and scenery. So the next step, we choose whether we want a straight road, we want a very curvy road, or slightly curvy. I think straight's too boring, and very curvy probably take us through farm fields, so I'm going to go with a slightly curvy. And next we have to choose whether we want it hilly or not. Now we like hills, don't we? So we're next to the Pennines, let's choose hills. Now we can avoid things, so let's avoid the cities, let's avoid highways and residential areas. So I think that is a good way to go. Next we just need to click and start our routes. So here we go then. We've got Route A, it's given us a choice. Or we can go with a different one if we don't like the look of A. But first, before we do that, let's change the map so we can see better detail whether we're going to go through fields or towns. There we go, it looks like we're avoiding cities, which is good, what we chose. So Route B is in Yorkshire, that's the red route there, looks alright. And then Route C, which is 78 miles, is a figure of 8, which is kind of a mix between A and B. So I'm thinking, let's go with that. I'm thinking go with that. So C it is then. So once you've chose your route, you just click use this tour, and then that brings it through onto the map and actually makes a navigational route for you like this. So there's our route, and as you can see, there's the flag, our start and end point, the car park in Milnrow. So that looks good to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to ride that route. So we'll video it, obviously, and if I see anything of interest, we'll video it, we'll stop, we'll film, we'll throw the drone up, and we'll see if these routes are actually any good. Can software make a good, interesting route? There's only one way to find out. Let's get back to the bike. Right, so that's the explanation then. All we've got to do is get on the bike and let's see what this route has to offer. So then, we're leaving the car park. We're going up this hill known as Kiln Lane. Temporary traffic lights, we always love them, don't we? Especially since they're always on red. I can't remember a time where I've come and seen temporary traffic lights and just went through because they're on green. Don't happen. It's a myth.
A myth? I don't think so, mister. You've obviously forgot about this on the Kirkstone Pass.
Oh, good to go. So if you don't know the area, this is Wildhouse Lane, which leads to a nice little area that a lot of people visit called Hollingworth Lake. A nice place in summer, feed the ducks, get an ice cream, walk around the lake. It's got a bit of a nature reserve thing at the back. Hey up, what's going on here? They're going through on red. Oh, don't tell me they're broke. You've got to gamble with your life. Amazing. Well, if I go behind a car I should be alright. That's the feeling. If in doubt, hide behind a car. I wonder if they're on green or red. Let's have a look in the mirror. No, they're on red, so yeah, they're broke. Hey up, more temporary traffic lights. Wonder if these are working. Yeah, they are. I'm just going to green. So we're going to Hollingworth Lake, or round, not round all of it obviously, but part way around it. Now what I should point out is there's a little, there's a pub at the end that does coffees and things like that, and it's quite a popular spot for bikers. A lot of bikers go here. Now I've got to be honest, simply because it's so close to my house I don't use it. Now that's not because it isn't good, it's just, well, who does a bike ride for 1 mile? You just don't, do you? So I live a mile away from this place and it's very popular with bikers. Speak of the devils, someone just leaving. So we'll see that. I'll put a pin up on a map so you can make a note of it if you fancy riding out to it. So there's the lake, a few boats and things. There's chippies here and cafes, and so if you do come out on the bike, you can definitely stop here for stuff to eat. Prices are very reasonable. And the views are nice.
And as you'll find out in this video, there is some great roads to ride locally. So get a good riding, stop here, have something to eat and a hot coffee, then get off in the afternoon, finish your great rides over the tops before you go home.
Now, there's no bikers there. That's probably because this place isn't open yet. So I'm going to pull over here. Yeah, so the meeting place where everybody goes for the bikes is here, as you can see, motorcycle parking, big long row of them. And the wine press it's called. So that there is the Fisherman's. Get the helmet down, Jesus. I was going to talk into the camera with the visor open, but that wind, I'm just tearing up big time. Yeah, so that's the Fisherman's, the fish, or the wine press as it's called now. Nice little spot if you want to ride out, make your way there. especially in summer. It's beautiful. So now we're getting away onto the route itself, which takes us, as I've looked on the map, this figure of 8 that's been made up by the My Route app. So we'll see how good this is. I'm going to be driving along, and obviously my eyes are going to be everywhere. I'm going to be looking for stuff to stop at, anything that might be of interest, to see if this makes, you know, an half decent route. I'm hoping it does. I already know that we're going here towards Blackstone Edge, or Blackstone Edge as we call it. It's an accent thing, I suppose. But Blackstone Edge is a quite well known area. It starts the Pennines, come up here at a little borough. I hope I'm striking. The tears are dropping from my face with that cold wind. I need to get in my helmet and wipe them off. So we're going over to Blackstone Edge now. The other interesting thing about Blackstone Edge was a couple of things. The first one, there's an area there called Robin Hood's Bed. We've all heard of Robin Hood, obviously. Rumour is it, he had an area that he liked to frequent on Blackstone Edge and sleep while he was on the move from one place to another. I always thought he was Robin of Sherwood, not Blackstone Edge, but... And the other interesting thing is there's a Roman road that goes straight through Blackstone Edge. So we'll get there and I'll try and show you these from the road. Obviously I can't get up to them on the bike, so there you can see now, probably for the first time, the Pennines, the hills that separate Lancashire and Yorkshire, amongst other things. I live right on the border. As I said in the previous video, it used to be Lancashire, but it's now Greater Manchester, Milnrow. But you only have to travel a couple of miles and you're in Yorkshire, which is not a bad thing, because there's some beautiful rides out in Yorkshire, West Yorkshire. So there you can just see the rocks there in the distance, but up there is the rocks which they call Blackstone Edge. They're not actually as black as they used to be, because it was actually the industrial area it was at the time. All the soot and everything that were blown out from the coal made them all black, and over the years they're becoming lighter and lighter, so they might have to change the name in another 200 years. So I'll show you here on a map. We're just passing the area where the Roman road is. It goes here and it gets up over the hills.
Here is a view of the Roman road, or what you can see of it from the road looking up. This is the view looking down back to where I've just turned the bend.
Obviously it's all grown over now. It's a shame really, they should dig it out. I think it'd be a popular attraction. So the story of Robin Hood's Bed, it goes a bit like this.
This unassuming rock that you're looking at overlooking Littleborough near Rochdale is Robin Hood's Bed. In the top of it is a weathered divot. It's 7 foot long and 4 foot wide, and is said to be where Robin Hood slept while his band of men guarded him.
Now this is the White House. Now if you've ever walked the Pennine Way, you will pass this. It goes right across the road here, Pennine Way. I know that anyway, but I have actually walked the Pennine Way, and yeah, at this point you think, shall I go home? The reservoir at the side of me. Now I have to say the temperature's dropped big style. It's a popular trek this for cyclists. It was featured in a Tour de Yorkshire couple of years ago.
Also the Tour de France in 2014.
It's very hilly around here, which will be a challenge for any cyclist. But temperature's dropping rapidly. 1.5 degrees C. The temperature's flashing at me on the dashboard. I don't know why it's trying to warn me, I can feel it. Go around these. I was going to put today's ride off till tomorrow, which is Sunday. But the weather actually looks worse tomorrow than today, a bit more of a gamble, so I thought, well, it's cold, but at least it's dry today, I'll go out on the Saturday. So here we are. So this is the thing with mystery tours. I mean, when you're going somewhere in particular, you might sometimes not know the exact route you're going to get there, but you know where you're going. So you have a general idea of other places it's near and other things that might appear on signposts that takes you in the right direction, but I'm having to watch this carefully because I should have studied the map a bit more before I set off. I've kind of done this blind. You've seen me make the route itself on my route app. I've thrown it on the Sat-Nav of a GPX file and blindly got on the bike and off we went. It's only now I'm thinking maybe I should have had a look at it a bit more, because some of these turns I could easily miss them, and auto calculation on the Sat-Nav is obviously turned off, so it doesn't change the route, so I'm going to have to be careful. I mean, if you get up on a Saturday morning, the weather's nice for instance, and you just think, you know, I want to go for a ride, and you've not actually planned anything and you don't know where to go, this is ideal, isn't it? Just press a button and yeah, a bit of a mystery tour. Every time I hear the word mystery tour, I have to tell you this story, it's quite good. When I was a young kid, I lived in Blackpool. Mum and Dad had a hotel, and you know, this is back in the day, in the 80s, when people used to go to Blackpool for 2 weeks holidays. Anyway, this chap from Bolton came and stayed with us, and round the corner from the hotel was this company called Seagull Coaches, which is a great name. And Seagull Coaches were advertising this mystery tour, so he thought, I'll have a bit of that. So this chap signs up for it, and he was telling us at breakfast time, oh, he's going on this mystery tour, he's quite excited. We thought, we'll see him in the bar later on, and he'll tell us all about it. Oh, did he? So he gets on this mystery tour, and guess where it took him? It took him that way back to Bolton, to his local pub for something to eat. A pub he drinks in all week, and he goes to Blackpool to get away, and they take him back. Brilliant. He come back, he weren't happy at all, because he obviously paid for the pleasure of going back to his local. Brilliant. So sometimes with a mystery tour, you've got to be careful. You could end up not so much of a mystery. Crikey, these grips are getting hot. Turn them down. If you're not from round here, another day out, Hampden Bridge is a lovely place, and I don't mean this insultingly, but it's a little bit like stepping back in time. It's actually a compliment, that is. You know, you go back and it seems to be unchanged. No fancy modern glass buildings or anything like that. I like it.
A mystery tour can get more mysterious when you miss your turn.
Hello, just missed me turning. So we're not going to Hampden Bridge. So there you go, talking away, I've missed my turn. Here we go.
Well, after explaining what the mystery tour is and then getting started, in the next video we have a bit of this.
Jesus, I'm glad I'm not in a car. Nah, let's stick to the road. Let's try and get run over.
The large boulders high above Wycoller were given the name Foster's Leap.
I realise there's a common theme of me moaning about how cold my hands are.
But it stands on a dark age stone monolith that dates back to the 9th century, if not earlier.
Hey, what's this on back of here?
Thank you for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.